Hello and welcome to a special playoff edition of Wake and Jake. Myself and BBD, we're going to chew through every series and where we currently stand. We have one NL game from each series under our belt, and we have two AL games under our belt. As the National League continues to roll on tonight, I will be streaming my first non-Yankees stream, which I'm actually very excited for at this point. I'd love to just watch a baseball game and not think. I guess, yeah, that's kind of my strength, actually. So that'll be fun. Shelfie's Phillies. I think the kid Jimmy Norp will be with us as they take on the Dodgers, who an impressive Game 1 victory against them. Cubs and Brewers, the late-night game. Hey, you want it, you got it. 9 p.m. Chew through the first games of those series, very different scripts. The American League. 2 more games, a little more juicier. I had a hellish situation yesterday that we'll probably end the show with that. I know some of the Jake stands like that. I got trapped on a train. That was a really bad time. And we could chew through a little football. I'm in fantasy hell. I am up 4.5 points. I have nobody going. My opponent has their kicker going, Cam Little. So I have to... I have told myself all day I'm going to lose my fantasy matchup, but you have that slightest bit of belief that if he just has an awful not scoring day for the Jaguars against the Chiefs, I could be happy. And it's just a constant reminder that fantasy football is one of the weirdest hobbies our country has, and it's very frustrating, and I think that's part of the reason why people like it. Anyways, let's get into the baseball, and I'll start out with the thing I do know the best, and that is the New York Yankees. They are down 2-0 to the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jay fans, thank you for enjoying our content, and I don't blame you for enjoying our content these past couple days, because I think one of my favorite things I've said from the start of quote-unquote podcasting to whatever we do now, which it's still podcasting, I guess. Shows, programs, YouTube. I like falling into things. I like talking through it and being like, And basically, however you slice it for the New York Yankees, things have gone as badly as possible. They lost Game 1, 10-1. In Game 2, they were down 12-0. That's as bad as it can go, which is it's the worst news and their best news. Because as we know with this sport of baseball, and we know with the beauty of sports, sometimes you just got to wash it. Is that it? The baseball debate that's as old as time. Would you rather have that just get dusted twice, or have what the Phillies had happen, just to kind of lose the game on one swing that they think that pitch was tipped, whether it was Strom showing Pages at second, or I heard a gum-chewing rumor from BBD.
That's one of the things going around today.
So that's where we're at with pitch tipping. And yeah, I don't know, David said it before we started recording. I don't know if it's more prevalent now, if it's just the time of year in October, if it's just something people get excited about or more excited about than they used to. Trevor Plouffe last night also said, being closer to the Twins this year, he thinks it's more relevant than ever. I don't know if that's more camera angles. I don't know if hitting has gotten harder. I don't know if people view it as the ultimate legal cheat code that teams have dedicated more time and people to it. Trev's thing is, if you're going to pay a rookie a minimum salary of $750K, why don't you pay 4 geeks to just study pitch tipping for every day, and you can make anyone kind of a good hitter? Any major league hitter that knows what pitch is coming is pretty damn good. Interesting part that I don't know how to fully dissect yet. I think when it comes out and it's clear and obvious for me, then it comes out and it's clear and obvious. I think there's other times that when it's not and we're squinting and it's, yeah, I think his hand's a little lower. A lot of the major league hitters, I'm sure when it's clear they want it, But when it's not, I think there's a lot of guys that just play their own game out there, and we've gotten lucky enough to meet enough hitters and baseball players that, what was the Taj Bradley story that came out earlier this year? It was his first time using a scouting report.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these guys are just absolute dudes that, yes, all of them allow or don't allow a certain amount of information to come in their head. I don't, it's all different. It's all on a different scale. It's all how different players use it. When it's there, it's there. And I don't know if it's been there for Toronto. I just know they have been knocking around the Yankees, and they're a team that led in batting average this year. And how about the one seed Cubs, the one seed Blue Jays came out in their first games, and they racked them up in the first couple innings, and they looked very impressive. That the layoff question, hey, maybe we just needed teams to figure out how to do the layoff better. Have a sim game. Get your arms rested. Like, again, that's with these new formats as we figure it out over time. This was the first year we had 3 games go 3 games in the wild card format, which we were saying that's kind of how far the series has to go to really mess up the other team. So we're digesting, we're learning, always. That's what we do here at Wake and Jake. The Blue Jays have pumped the Yankees. They've looked fantastic. The number 1 batting average, number 1 on base team. Max Fried, who's contact-ish, like it's rude to label him as a contact pitcher. He's not afraid of contact, I guess is what you would say, and neither are the Blue Jays. So it was a strength versus strength. They knocked around Max Fried. Maybe they had something else. Maybe they didn't on him. But Max Fried gets knocked around in what they needed to be a stopper game, and it turns into being the opposite of it, that it turns into an absolute laugher. And all the corny stuff, the Yankees get some runs off of their bullpen, and can you carry that at bat into the next game and just wash it? That series never happened. I just think the honest conversation, because, the 2 Fox quotes are going around today that, what was it, Big Papi, that was like they need Jeter, Rod, and Pettit, Whitey Ford maybe, to come back for the Yankees to have a chance, which, hey, if that happens and is legal, I'm open to it. Not sure how that's going to work. The other thing, the other Fox quote I saw going around today is the Yankees have more than a puncher's chance, which, that's just an old boxing term. Is that what that is? Because we use that.
I think so.
That still gets used.
That's one that gets thrown around in day-to-day life.
It's a puncher's chance. Okay. Because here's the formula. Game 3 is Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon has had a good year. When he's right, he has more swing and miss stuff than Fried, and can have that. The Yankees have used none of their 2 good bullpen guys they currently believe in. They also have 2 half points they currently believe in, that they are up against elimination again. They were up against elimination in 2 games against Boston. They kind of came through. I'll tell you who came through, Cam Schlittler, who would be on the mound for Game 4. So for the Yankees, it's very simple. Win 1 game, however you got to do it. Empty the bullpen. Carlos Rodon, empty the tank. Find the short porch. Score runs any way you can. Put the ball in play. That's how they ended up beating Boston. That's how Toronto's beating them. I mean, putting it in play and scoring a ton of runs and hitting. They have more home runs than strikeouts. I think it's 8-7. So win 1 game, and then you bank on hopefully Cam Schlittler can be a thing. One of the most dominant playoff performances we've seen. Him and Trey Savage. And I'm starting to think that part of a postseason formula, if your team is good enough in the regular season, is going to be hiding these guys. Like, I'm not saying the Yankees, if the Yankees got another look at Trey Savage in Game 5, because I think that's what it would be lined up for, I don't know if it goes much different. And when I say I don't know, it's because they had 0 hits. So actually, I'd bet on it going a little different, because if Trey Savage no-hits him again for 5.1, well, that's it, that's all, and that's fine. And maybe that's what's coming. Maybe the Yanks don't even get the opportunity, because Toronto looks really good. They have high-level defense at a lot of positions, and the tough at-bat every inning has continued into the postseason. That's just made them deadly, and Unfortunately, I'm worried that something I'm going to have to hang my hat on is I said if your team gets eliminated from the playoffs, there's 2 teams you should be rooting for. I've said this here. I've said this on Talking Baseball. The AL team you should be rooting for is Toronto. The NL team you should be rooting for is Milwaukee. Because those teams play the game differently this year. And hey, Toronto's done it with some spending. Milwaukee has a guy or two they've spent on. We've always wanted them to spend a little more, but for what they do in their market. But you're talking about the number 1 and the number 3 batting average team, the number 1 and the number 2 on base percentage team. So nothing too crazy in the recipe there. Both of them are a little lower on homers. Toronto 11th, Milwaukee 22. It seems like that formula works. And whether it's working starting pitchers, getting to parts of the bullpen, I don't know what the other parts of the recipe are that we know and are missing in front of us, but it clearly works. It clearly is working. That let's see, Yankees, you got to win 1 game in the Bronx. Good starting pitcher on the mound, rested bullpen. You do that, you gave yourself a chance for Game 4 and a heroic effort from Schlittler, and the Jays are lined up for a bullpen day. So, if you can get there, that means you could get to Game 5, and that's where you're just hoping for baseball gods. And you're hoping Aaron Judge looks like Aaron Judge at some point. If they get swept, and if Toronto does it in pretty/ugly fashion, get your popcorn ready. First, let me tell you about our presenting sponsor. It's Arena Club. October baseball is all about big swings and clutch moments. Arena Club brings that same excitement to card collecting. Ripping a pack during the postseason feels just like watching the big man go yard. Maybe Ohtani shutting down a lineup. Arena Club slabs equal 1 real graded card, instantly revealed. Skip the old cycle of ripping, grading, and waiting weeks. Your card appears digitally right away, and you decide what to do with it next, whether it's sell, trade, auction, or hold, or ship it to your collection. Packs start at $25. They go up to $1,000+ with grails worth 20x or more. Arena Club shows you the full checklist and odds before you rip, meaning there's complete transparency. Whether you're just starting to a collection, building it like a dynasty team, Arena Club is the best place to do it. Past grails have included cards worth tens of thousands. Your October pull could be just as legendary. Don't just wait. Don't just watch or wait October baseball. Collect it. Go to arenaclub.com/WakeandJake and use code WakeandJake to get 20% off your first slab pack. The other American League Series, Seattle and Detroit. How about the Mariners? Their first home playoff win in 25 years. I had the stat wrong. I thought it was their first play. They won 2 playoff games against the Blue Jays in 22. Okay. I will do no shots fired there. I think Mariners fans think it all feels a little different right now. And it was cool that one cut scene of, I don't even know what's going on. You never truly know, but it was a guy and a girl, husband and wife, I don't know. And she gives him when I say passionate hug, I don't mean, HBO late night passionate. I mean, just it seemed like she was consoling a man who liked a baseball team that hadn't won a home playoff game in 25 years. They take down Scooble. Jorge Polanco, who I was digging through some of my old tweets yesterday because he was part of my Yankees offseason plan coming into this year. Just because I think he's a good hitter, and I thought he got Seattled last year. We've seen a couple guys get Seattled. Teoscar having a postseason. Eugenio almost hit 50 this year. That we've seen guys where their one blind spot is Seattle. That usually tells me you can hit, and that's a weird place to hit at, and maybe we're starting to figure it out. Edgar Martinez had some thoughts, and we saw a couple Mariners hit the ball this year. He gets the 2 solo shots off of Scoobs. The Tigers have their one Tiger inning. Walk, hit, Torkelson double down the line. They score 2 to tie it up. And then the heart of Seattle's lineup, Cal Raleigh with a double. Julio Rodriguez with a double. Both against Kyle Finnegan, who A.J. Hinch said before the game he would try to stay away from if he could. For me, that's a really bad quote when you go to him and you lose the game in the 8th inning. is what it is. He left 2 splitters up, pitch of the postseason, at least on the American League side. Left 2 splitters up, 2 doubles by Seattle's 2 stars. They win. Senor Smoke, after pitching 2 innings, which he rarely does, he still looked great. They end up splitting. They'll go to Detroit for 2. Looks like it'll be Jack Flaherty and Logan Gilbert. So, Logan Gilbert is viewed as Seattle's best starter in a way. Him and Brian Wu coming into this. Wu, not on the postseason roster, which Seattle fans were mad about. But another thing I want to drive home, especially before we get over to the Dodgers. We've seen different tiers of teams this postseason. And there's kind of the old baseball phrase, like, anything can happen, man. It's baseball. You never know. I think we've seen a couple teams, especially with the expanded playoff format, that I don't know if anything can happen. I think some things could happen. I don't know about anything. Hey, the Seattle Mariners, Brian Wu's out. Oh, God, what are we going to do? Who are we going to tap on the shoulder for a big game? They tapped on Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, after last night's start, he has 4 postseason starts, 24.1 innings, a 1.48 ERA. Like, Luis Castillo was originally the guy Seattle traded for to be like, this is a new Seattle team, to like elevate them. He's a guy that gets paid $25 million a year to play baseball. He finished this year in, I don't want to say a down year for him. He finished this year with a 3.54 ERA, 32 starts, 180 innings. In his final 4 starts coming into this game, he was also nailed. So, like, as different teams are facing the injury bug or who's available and who's not available, the Seattle Mariners, and as close as you can get to a must-win game without being a must-win game, won it, and they got 4.2 shutty out of Luis Castillo, who still, end of the day, is Luis Castillo. And Dan Wilson, who got critiqued for his moves in Game 1, he goes to the bullpen earlier for the big Kerry Bonds at bat, Kerry Carpenter. I said I was going to say this stat before. Luis Castillo's last 4 starts before heading into the postseason, 25.1 innings pitched, a 1.07 ERA. So, like, the fact that this is the guy we're tapping into just shows the depth in who this Seattle Mariners team is, while other teams are fighting and scrambling to figure out who they're going to throw on the mound the next day. The fact that Seattle Stars do it, that has to feel amazing. And just an 8th inning, young and old Mariner fans aren't ever going to forget. And Jorge Polanco enters a little bit of Mariners lore. I think the Mariners players with multi-homer postseason games, I think it's Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, and I think it was Jay Buhner. So, names in lore for different reasons. Look at that. Jay Buhner with a little Seinfeld kick at the end there. It's listed as Jack Flaherty and Logan Gilbert in game 3. Casey Mize and Bryce Miller are also listed for both teams. I don't know if they've fully been announced yet, because on different websites you could see some different things. No, that's what they have too. Casey Mize would be for the Tigers for Game 4. That series is promised a Game 4. Pretty scary when I saw that, when I was looking at all the games lined up, and it was like, well, here's the probable for these games, because they're for sure happening, where the Yankees don't have a probable Game 4 starter. How do you like that? Anyways, Seattle, it's still interesting because Scooble's lined up for Game 5. All you really got off of him was 2 homers to Polanco. So, like, Scooble puts that in the back of his head, and it's kind of like, all right, well, I can't let that guy beat me. If you're Seattle, I still think you don't want to be in Game 5 with Scooble, but you just beat him in Seattle. So, I don't know. Interested to see what these middle 2 games feel like. Will the home field advantage do something for Detroit? Which playoff Jack Flaherty are you getting? Feels like a game we've played a lot these past couple postseasons. and how does Seattle navigate their pitching? Because, they haven't announced Bryce Miller for that Game 4 start, but you'd like to think he would be the guy. This video is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify is the best place to start and grow a business, which is why we partner with Shopify here at John Boy Media. And John Boy Media has relaunched our merch store on Shopify. Our new /line site is a dream. We brought the ideas, Shopify brought the execution, and as you're shopping our new launch, check out what Shopify can do for you. Life really is a home run when you have Shopify on your side. Shopify Sidekick, Shopify Magic, and the suite of AI tools are a total game changer, revolutionizing the way you can build and manage a business. You'll have your own AI assistant guiding you on everything, direction reports, editing images, content ideas. Shopify has your next move covered. If you want to be like us and start building your brand from the ground up, it's time to go over Shopify and start your trial today. Click the link in the description and sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/bakers. If you're ready to leave the amateurs and head over to the big leagues, Shopify. In the National League, where do we go? I guess we go Phillies-Dodgers, right? Which I mentioned we'll be live streaming tonight. This has been a postseason matchup I've been shocked that we haven't gotten, as both of these teams have been the powers of the NL the past few years. A 5-game set is so tight that you wonder what the margin of error can actually be, especially when you're facing one of these two powerhouse teams. And I was interested talking to some of the baseball boys around the office today. There's a lot of woe is me, here go the Dodgers. And maybe that's Yankee fans that are worn out by the Dodgers. Maybe that's Phillies fans that are worn out by the Dodgers. Maybe it's Mets fans. Maybe it's everyone. Because the other part of that equation is the Dodgers, who, their Achilles heel is going to be bullpen, which, as we've noted before, there's been a lot of teams that thought their bullpen was going to be their Achilles heel. That's kind of like a perk of a really good team. If you look at your bullpen and you think that's the only problem, that means everything else is pretty damn good. Please tell me our mics picked that up. I don't think they did.
I don't think so. But
Noah, who's one of our sweetest boys at the office, walked into the producer's booth that's next to our recording studio, and Dan Rourker's in there, and he let out the biggest, "Noah, what's up, MFer?" So that tripped me and BBD up pretty damn good. That boy is not right. Phillies, Dodgers, in this one just could end up haunting them. Chris Sanchez gives a Chris Sanchez type effort, has them shut out through 5 innings, where the Phillies score 3 in the second, and it's a 3-0 game in the second, in the third, in the fourth, in the fifth. And then it's the first time they run into trouble, and it's Kike Hernandez, which that's just bonus points for the Dodgers, because he's, during the regular season, it seems like Kike, when's the last Kike Hernandez regular season? Like what is his best regular season in recent years? It's 2021. He had an amazing regular. I say amazing. A 108 OPS plus, a 789 OPS. He was with the Red Sox. And this is, Kike's, he played center, he played second, he played short.
he was doing it.
29 years old, a 5 B WAR season. Since then, he's had negative WAR seasons. Nothing jumps off the page. But as I mentioned in yesterday's Talking Baseball, and Jolly listened, and he was like, "I think you're right. This guy's a Jolly Olive video." Every postseason, he has brought it to the table. And I saw some Dodger fans comment that he has talked about his postseason success, saying that he has ADD and the postseason helps him focus more. Who knows? That could be anything. That's a weird thing in the sport if we start scouting for that. But it seems like every series he's essentially been in, he has been a plus player, and it's 89 games now. 89 games, he is 285, 356, a 525 slug for an 880 OPS. In the postseason, it looks like he has played 4 different positions. No, 5. So, yeah, the guy has played everywhere. He has hit everywhere with different teams. And, sometimes you see a short sample stat line and it's padded by, homers. Like the on-base percentage isn't there, but the slugging's up or whatever. No, like every box is checked by this guy. And maybe it is the ADD. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's still a smaller sample size. But that guy in the postseason, he is en route to becoming a Jolly Olive video in a couple years. With that, you still have the lead. It's 3-2 Phillies. They go to their bullpen, a bullpen that has been part of their Achilles heel before. So think about that. Everything I was saying earlier means they're a really good team. Matt Strahm comes in, gets a couple outs. Teoscar Hernandez, and this is the pitch tipping we talked about. There was a damning screenshot online, which screenshots are always tricky because what do we see with the cameras? What do they see? I think Andy Pajes, he threw his arm up for the last 2 pitches of that at bat. He hadn't thrown them up before, so did he put it together? Something else? Was it random? Did his shoulder hurt and he just put him up? Is it the gum chewing? Was it that? Was it the 92-mile-per-hour fastball that had too much of the plate against one of the most feared hitters in the postseason? Was it everything of that combined? Teoscar Hernandez hits a 3-run homer to make it 5-3 in the 7th. Phillies looking like they had the Dodgers in Game 1. They end up losing it. Oh, yeah, Shohei pitched 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 9K outing out of him. And as I mentioned, Glasnow and Sasaki out of the pen for them, which let's see how this series goes. But if this Dodgers recipe continues to go, they could be benefited massively by this National League off-day schedule in the DS, where they had game, off day, game tonight, off day, that Tyler Glasnow is still listed as their Game 4 starter if they get there, which that would change their bullpen formula a lot because he threw 1.2 innings for them. A 1.2 innings for a Dodger bullpen that has been very hard to find. Impossible to find. But again, maybe that's a little secret ingredient to go along with all these superstar players that they happen to have on that team. Game 2 tonight. If I'd be lying if I was telling you I knew what was going to happen. It's one baseball game. Luzardo versus Snell on the mound. You guys kind of know where I stand with Snell this time of year. Luzardo has to give a special performance. He can. He's got the arm talent to do it. Some good left-handed pitching. We'll see what the matchups end up looking like, if there's anything different in these games, in these bullpens, that you kind of got to get the ball to Duran. I wonder if they try to give him the ball before the 9th inning. You got the off day the next day. You really can't go down to the Dodgers 0-2 before playing 2 more in L.A. Like, you can't. So I wonder if they feel that, and if they turn up the aggressive knob in this game just a little bit, because I think I wouldn't say it's a developing theory of baseball, but okay, let's say Luzardo goes through 5. It's a 1-1 game, or maybe they're up 1-0. Is there any thought to pressing the Duran button there to try to hold them more to get a lead, but then you're going to put another guy in a compromised spot? I don't know. I think it's fluid. You obviously want to save him for the end, but you can't go down 0-2 to these guys. And hey, maybe everyone's fun fact of baseball is the hardest sport to repeat in a couple weeks. We're talking about a different story, because the Dodgers and Ohtani's contract are literally built for right now. Right now. A lot of deferred money for right now. Let's see what happens tonight. Change the script. I was really worried about Seattle after Game 1. Scooble the next 2 out of 4 games and losing home field advantage. they've ended up in a much better spot after today. Phillies, you can do that too. You win today, you got to win one in LA, bring it back home. The final National League game, man, this one ended so first. It feels like this series hasn't even started, but I don't know, similar. I guess not similar to Toronto, New York, that there was, at one point, it was a 2-1 game in the 6th inning for the first game of New York, Toronto, before they blew the doors off. Milwaukee blew the doors off instantly. That game was 9-1. Michael Busch's leadoff homer, the only thing in the way for a little bit. That series feels like it hasn't even started. They've got the night slot in beautiful, beautiful Milwaukee. Shota Imanaga will get the start. The Cubs have been debating and doing an opener thing with him. Not going to do that this time. And Trevor got another good laugh out of me because Craig Counsell had a quote that was like, he said something like, I have the ultimate trust in Shota Imanaga. And he's like, well, you didn't have the ultimate trust for him to start the first inning. So maybe you don't have the ultimate trust for him. He gets the start. Well, Milwaukee, they're going to throw Aaron Ashby out there. So they're going to do their own little party trick. I'm assuming they're going to kick it to Quinn Priester after that. He's lined up for this game. So when you have managers making decisions, that leaves more room for us questioning those managerial decisions, whether they work or don't work. Milwaukee didn't even really have to use their good bullpen in that first game. Counsell going against his former team. I don't know. I feel a little icky talking about it because when game one goes 9-1, it's really not a lot to break down. Yet, I did talk about the Yankees and the Blue Jays a lot. So, sorry to my Midwest brethren. Chiriot, do we have an update on his hamstring? Let's see. Chiriot hamstring. I guess we'll wait to see the lineup. But that would be significant because he had 3 hits in the first 2 innings of the first game, along with 3 RBI. Just trying to hustle late. You seeing anything there, Biebertone?
The MRI was inconclusive.
Right.
Which...
That's not a thing.
That would be the first I've seen.
That's not a thing.
When we're talking about, for an MRI machine, a hamstring strain, whatever injury is pretty easy for it to conclude something.
Again, I hate to reference Trevor Plouffe again, former Phillies third baseman. He was like, that's not how they work. It's like not how MRIs work. So, I guess for me, that would, and with these off days and with who he is for that team and with their depth, like, do you just give a Blake Perkins a start to see if you get something and then he gets another off day tomorrow? I don't know. It's the game inside the game right now there. And if you're the Cubs, a la the Yanks, you're just hoping to not get punched in the face again. And didn't work so well for my Yankees. Let's see if Shota can tap into it. He really made the one mistake to Machado in his last postseason outing. Love that guy's makeup and love his pitching style when he's on. Or maybe it's that Brewers-Toronto thing I said to be rooting about before, that maybe these two teams have figured something out about this beautiful game because they have kind of been the two best. They were kind of the 2 best regular season teams. I shouldn't have as much change in my voice when I'm saying that, but they were. So 2 NL tonight, 2 AL tomorrow, potentially 4, a minimum of 3 on Wednesday, and then the postseason really starts to change as we start deciding the division series and we start getting into the CSs. I guess personally, and maybe you feel it as a fan, but, you get nights with 1 game instead of 4, and that starts feeling a lot different. So we will be tuned in and streamed and plugged in and recording Wake and Jake and talking baseball and talking Yanks as long as their season goes. Who will save their soul? We'll find out if someone can do it tomorrow. But baseball, killing it. Every stat that comes out seems to be like more people are watching baseball and stuff. Maybe I'm just in the MLB propaganda machine now, but attendance is going up, views are going up, exciting stuff. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Cushy Dreams. Want to add a leg to your parlay that's a guaranteed winner? Make sure to add Cushy Dreams. The best in legal cannabis pairs well with every parlay, and it goes well with watching every sport too. Our friends at Cushy Dreams have all kinds of THC and CBD you can smoke or chew, starting with their fan favorite Delta 9 THC gummies. Yes, that's the same THC as the other stuff. Flavors, watermelon, green apple, strawberry. Whatever you are looking for to melt into some football Sunday or baseball Monday or hockey Friday. Whatever you like. I mean, listen to that. This is from the people at Cushy. They are with us. We are with them. And since you're a John Boy Media fan, you get a deal on all the THC you can smoke or eat. 25% off all D9 gummies and the entire store when you use code JM25 at checkout. Thanks, Cushy. Let's see. Let's do a little football before I just get into my hellscape that was my train trapping, as I'll call it. And football was a part of my train trapping because I was watching that before I started watching the Yankees. Thursday night, God, where did the days go? I guess it's Monday, so maybe I shouldn't be dramatic. Trevor was at this game. Stop talking about him. The Niners snack Jones and the 4-1 49ers kind of absolutely steal one here. The Rams were driving at the end of this game. Kyron Williams at the goal line gets punched in the face and then the ball punched out. I saw some clips in social media that that's supposed to be a penalty. I don't think you're ever going to get that called in the NFL on the goal line where the guy punches the ball out. Niners end up winning it in overtime, 4-1. Rams 3-2. Niners have to feel like the opposite of last season, although they've had similar injuries. When are they going to be able to get their star players back? But they are in fantastic position moving forward. While the Rams, I don't know. Matthew Stafford looks great, and he was kind of the question mark coming into this year. And they always seem to get better at the end of the year, even though they've looked fine to start the year. Two teams you'll be hearing about on the back end of this season. Two teams I'm not as sure about. On Saturday morning, the Vikings and the Browns played in London. The Vikings, second week of their vacation out there. Vikings end up winning. Carson Wentz surviving a game-winning drive to get the Vikes. Jordan Addison with the game-winning touchdown was suspended for the first quarter because he went missing in London for a little bit. What's that about? Could
Just, be classic stuff.
Could be anything. Good for you, man. Hey, good way to bounce back. Good way to bounce back. Jetta with big numbers on the name. The Browns started a different quarterback. Dylan Gabriel out there. Go Sooners, go Ducks. 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. First QB to throw 2 touchdown passes against this Vikings defense this year. Ooh, we like that. Quinshawn Judkins, the running back, 23 and 110. So, hey, Browns fans are kind of in that New York sports fans of like, hey, if you're not going to be good, just be fun. And sometimes if you have a new quarterback and a new running back, your team can be fun. Vikings 3-2, still a part of this season. And let's see, is J.J. McCarthy going to come back for them? And what does he look like? On to the rest of Saturday. The Colts dominate the Raiders. This was kind of not the ultimate test for both these teams because I think the Colts have elevated themselves to one of the better teams this season. They're 4-1, a 40-6 blowout. The Raiders, where you're looking around and you like, again, a lot of the talent, that for them, this was almost a, hey, gut check game. Here we are. Everyone likes the Colts. Nobody likes us. We're on the road. Well, they didn't have the gut check. They get rolled. Team sprinting different directions. The Saints and the Giants. I don't know. Beebs, anything you'd like to say?
That was ugly. Bad turnovers. So
Was it four
that's
straight
tough.
possessions turning the ball over? Was it 5?
I think 5 total, but 4 straight.
That's a bad formula.
That's not a winning formula. Typically.
Congrats to Spencer Rattler getting his first win, 1-10. New Orleans, I think there's some advanced stats on the defense that they're okay, and I think there's some stats that say the offense isn't horrible, but these are these are different class of NFL teams, and that's all I have to say about that. Cowboys, Jets, man, as a fantasy football owner that has Justin Fields, I felt dirty watching as he racked up points at the end of this game. That just meant nothing. And I think the new Justin Fields stats is his teams are, is it 0-25 when the opponent scores 20 points? So, yeah. Hey, how about some snaps for Javonte Williams, who's having a great season? He was a guy with the Broncos that he had that spark and was like, watch out for this guy. Couple tough injuries, and that allure went away. He has found something with the Cowboys. The Cowboys' offense seems to be there, 2-2-1. Again, I don't know how excited you should be after their back-to-back weeks are the Jets. Oh, the Packers. People like the Packers. It was just a tie. They lost to the Bears in a big way, and they beat the Giants. So their 2 wins are the Jets and the Giants. So they had a pass rush in that game, which, again, that used to be the old Cowboys formula. It was like, hey, we have a good offense. Get a lead. Let our pass rush get to work and see if we have something. Jets and Giants. That's noted in my head. That's noted in my head. How about the Ponies? The Denver Broncos. They go and face the Philadelphia Eagles. They are down big. They are down 2 touchdowns to the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Feels like they have their recipe. And then the flip gets switched, or the switch gets flipped. Credit to my Broncos. I was skeptical. I took the against the spread league. I took the Eagles -3.5. Told you it smelt fishy. And if you watch enough football, and if these Broncos, who are what people want the Broncos to be this year, this is their gut check game. And the Eagles being undefeated, coming off a tough Tampa game where they got worn out by the end of that game in the Tampa Heat and almost coughed it up. And this Eagles team, it's why all the Sirianni talk last year when they were 2-2. And again, this is credit to them. All the talk I did before about bullpens and how, our bullpen's our weakness. Well, that means you got a really good team. Like the Eagles' weakness is like getting in their own way sometimes. And there was a little bit of that in this game. Broncos score 18 in the fourth quarter, unanswered, to get the win. I'll be on the line. Why not? My Yanks might have me off of that line in the next 9 innings, so I might as well get on the Broncos line. Good for Bo Nix. Good for the boys. Let's see them build off of that. Eagles, they had to lose 1. I think they were 20-0 in their last 20. That's pretty impressive. And no undefeated teams. How crazy is that?
Yeah, 5. That's pretty early.
No 5-0 teams. That's pretty shocking. Let's see. The rest of the games, I don't want to say have a little bit of stinky on them, but Panthers come back against the Dolphins, if you guys remember. In this home, we root for Bryce Young, so we love that. And Ted McMillan, who had a weird NFL draft kind of process. He didn't test crazy well. He ended up in a people thought he was going to be boom or bust. 6 for 73, and he's done that in kind of a couple games. He looks like a good NFL wide receiver. So, yeah. He felt like a guy that they stopped talking about just how good he was at football. Kind of a jump ball guy at the college level that sometimes that doesn't translate, but other times that's as good of a skill you can have. That means you catch the ball. instead of the other guys.
You can go get a ball.
Went pretty high in the draft, looking like it's paying off for the Panthers. 2-0 at home. Dolphins, woof. The Texans, I guess the story around football is the Ravens are 1-4. Lamar doesn't play. They get rolled by the Texans. I don't know. I think when I did my guys' fantasy draft analysis for you, I was bummed. I was bummed with myself because I took C.J. Stroud late, and I think it was my third quarterback, because I took Justin Fields, who had 2 points going into the fourth quarter, and then he went nuts. So that's why. Stroud, 4 passing touchdowns. I mean, the Ravens are down bad defensively, offensively, so you can't say like the Texas offense is back. But, man, it was pretty, what C.J. Stroud did his first year, and I don't know, he had a nice run in this game. 4 passing touchdowns. They have weapons all over the field. Maybe the Texans' offense can become a thing again, but their O-line is bad, and the Ravens can't rush the passer. That's probably what happened there. The craziest game of the weekend was Titans-Cardinals. If you haven't seen the highlights, take 5 minutes to do it, because you'll almost be in shock. It's almost like now when you see an AI video and you're like, that's not real. And you see, like, in sports AI, you'll see, like, a fake name on a jersey and it's just letters. Or, like, I don't know, if you've messed around with AI at this point, you know that there's something on the screen that's just wrong. I mean, what ended up being their, like, comeback touchdown in this one was intercepted, fumbled, and then recovered for a touchdown. The whole thing almost looks fake. Cam Ward and the Titans' first victory. Cardinals, what is you doing, baby? DeMercado has the running back fumble before the goal line in this one, which, how does that keep happening? Also, I'll bring this to the forum because I think a lot of people are scared to say it. Chance that was a touchdown. He has it in his hand still, and the ball's across the line, which, in theory, the second the ball touches that line, it's supposed to be a touchdown. It was called accurately on the field. So I think we fell into our replay wormhole of, if it was called a touchdown, I think it would have been a lot harder to overturn. Either way, all of us say the same thing. How does this possibly keep happening? And I don't know. I think it's just such a rushed up sport that my guy DeMercado, who I put the chips in on the waiver wire one year, didn't pay off. But I like the way he runs. Found himself in a position. One of his 3 carries he took for a house call, and right at the end, got a little too excited to celebrate.
I had fantasy implications from that.
Oh, did you see there was a good, I think it was a DraftKings social media post, but someone had like a 4 touchdown parlay, and DeMercado was the miss. I think we posted that.
The league I'm in, I picked him up, started him, had injuries and a lot of buys, all that, and so I was like, oh, I'll actually play him.
Yeah.
And I'm going into the night needing Brian Thomas under 9 points, and I'd love the 6 more.
Yeah. Fantasies.
Or I guess it'd be 8 more. Awful feeling.
3 Jaguars touchdowns tonight. 3 extra points. That's what I'm rooting for. Dumb sport, dumb hobby. Seahawks Bucks. Credit to Jake. I told you this would be one of the more fun games. I wish they told us the uniforms beforehand. I'm sure they did somewhere. But both of these teams went with the throwbacks that you're just like, fuck me up. This was a Madden game. And it literally was 38-35. The Buccaneers end up winning on the road in Seattle. Frustrating for me as a Kenneth Walker fantasy owner because, Charbonnet snaked him of one straight up. And I realized Sam Darnold had a great day at the office. 4 touchdowns, 28 for 34, 1 interception, which kind of ends up being the difference in this game. They need to give Kenneth Walker the ball more. Frustrated fantasy owner here, fine. That's fine. 10 carries for 86 yards, an 8.6 yard rushing average. Give that guy the ball. Control the clock more. I don't know. Again, there's sadly some of this is coming from fantasy frustration. Also, just noted, Ohio State Emeka Ibuka and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I get careful with that one. Two guys that when you bring up the Ohio State wide receivers, I don't know how early they get mentioned. They might start getting mentioned earlier because they're going to keep playing like this. But the stud wide receivers that Ohio State has put into the league in recent years is shocking. And part of the reason due to their success. Nice, Jake. Yeah, really frustrated. I mean, I was doing the fantasy football, getting updates on my phone in sauna train. That was part of my frustration with this. And I was playing against Sam Darnold. So, you trade me one of those Darnold TD passes for K9. I don't know how mad I am right now. I think I could still point at the 8.6 yards per rush and say you could control the ball. You could keep their defense on the field longer. You could rest your defense longer in a shootout game. But you didn't do that. Okay. I don't know. I'm starting to feel the salt on myself. 38-35. Cool uniforms. Cool teams. How do you like that? Lions-Bengals. Lions went up big in this one. Bengals, again. Hey, they actually came back for a little bit and made it scary and probably made a couple fantasy owners as Jamar Chase got back in that action. Lions improved to 4-1. They are who we thought they were. Bengals 2-3 struggle bus. Commanders, Chargers. This game turned on one play. I believe it was a Chargers fumble that the Commanders just turned it on from there. Chargers were up 10-0. They gave up the final 27 points in that game. Jaden Daniels is back. Krosky Merritt has kind of become the lead running back for them, and he's had some big fantasy implications. And then what ended up kind of being the game of the night, literally, the Patriots get it done against the Bills. Slow start to this one. No touchdowns in the first half. A lot of people thought this was going to be a shootout. It became a turnover fest in the first half. And hey, if you are in the kickers with swag game, the Patriots have that. Borregales, am I saying that right? Nails a game-winning 52-yarder, like right down the middle. It's been the year of kicks down the middle. They leave no time for the Bills and get it done. Stephon Diggs has looked really good the past couple weeks. 10 for 146. And they noted it on the broadcast, and it was super impressive. His superpower, or like if you're making his Madden skill, he would start his running move before he caught the ball, and he would get past the first tackle every time. It was really impressive. And he looks healthy after coming off of injury. And the Patriots, Drake May. There's a lot of good Drake May stats out there. Watch out for New England the rest of the way. Buffalo, like we said, in this league, teams get their L's. They get their first one. That was a fun part of the football weekend. Tonight, Chiefs-Jaguars. You already know what I'm rooting for. Although I may just bet this cat to kick 2 field goals just to break my own heart, like the organic way, but maybe make money off of it. Chiefs-Jags, 3-1 Jaguars, 2-2 Chiefs in Jacksonville. God, I want him to brick his field goals. Crazy. Crazy hobby. The only time we've seen Cole Tucker be mean is fantasy football. Otherwise, a nice, sweet man. If he's playing against your fantasy team, that dude will MF you up and down. Players.
Gets them to the dark place.
We all need to let it out in our own way. Speaking of, I will give you my life update disaster class. Went home this weekend. It was my mom's birthday on Saturday, which is a part of the story I have left out up until this point. But we've been doing a grueling schedule. On Yankees games, I'm doing Talking Yanks, live stream Yanks, record Talking Yanks, watch the rest of the other game, live stream Talking Baseball, or pre-record Talking Baseball. And something that I've mentioned before, but if you're new here, after we record, you're still kind of wired. Like, it's not a sleepy activity. We're kind of bringing it, and we're trying to bring energy and excitement or sadness or anger or whatever emotions we have, we're letting it out. So Friday night, I'm I'm like, you know what? I think I want to go home Saturday. I'll meet up. That's the day of my mom's birthday. My nephews are in town from Syracuse. I'll go there in the morning. I'll have brunch with them, and then I'll come back for the Yankees game at 4. Brilliant. To do that, to get back to Connecticut in time to do that and get back, I have to catch a pretty early training. I was like a 7 a.m. train, so I don't want to be too dramatic about it. But, you got to wake up, shower, get to the train station. That's
different from a typical weekend.
Earlier than what you want on a Saturday. That's what I'll say. So I set the alarm. Okay, wake up. Double wake up, which if you know what I'm saying by that, look at my phone, it's 9 a.m. So I've screwed the pooch. I'm very mad. My nephews, they fill up my cup in a different way than a lot of part of life, as I'm sure if a lot of you have family members like that. The older one now is 4, Agent of Chaos, and like our souls see the same thing.
Wow.
We for an hour yesterday we played, I guess a role playing game where I was a fox with a guitar. I had a fox, and the fox had just been attacked by chipmunks. And we just kind of reenacted how that scene would play out different times. And that was a good time. We both had a good time there. The other one is 2. He's just figuring out how to like kind of talk, that he's saying things, and then every 100th word he says like the right thing to what he should say. And you're like, look at this shit. Good time. My mom's birthday, see my sister, all the good stuff. Family. So I miss that. So I'm very sad. Don't like that. But I'm like, all right, eat it, wear it. And I was like, you know what, Jake? You're somewhat of an adult man. Go tomorrow. You could do that tomorrow. It's just going to be a grinder of a schedule, but whatever. You grind through. There's coffee. There's energy drinks. You're going to be okay. So that, miss my family, watch the Yanks get pumped, record that night, record probably till like 2 a.m. Or no, record till 1:30. Get to bed at 2 a.m., 2:15. I'd say that because my alarm was set for 4:50. Wake up, catch a 5:30 a.m. train, get to Connecticut, hang out with family, Uber up to see my mom, see my family from like 8 to 12:30, head back down to catch a train. Okay, first little asterisk, which is on me. When I was looking at train times, I did have it reverse on my phone. That I had the train times from Grand Central to New Haven, Connecticut, when I needed New Haven to Grand Central. So I thought I was making a 12:44 train, or 1:44, I forget, 1:44. And I was not, and I realized my mistake, and the train left New Haven at like 1:30, so the next train was at 2:17. So I was going to get to the trains, a lot of details here. I had a lot of time to think about it. That the train was going to get me to Grand Central at 4:03, 4:06. So I texted the Talking Yanks guys. I was like, damn it, I'm probably going to miss first pitch, misread the train times. But I was like, you know what? We got Joe's Marrow was coming in, so we're excited for that. It's like, hey, it is what it is.
Not a bad day to have that.
We're going to be okay. Going to figure it out. Get on the train. And if you remember, barely slept. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to sleep on this train. And I do. Get on the train. We take off. Make sure you get your ticket checked, because nothing worse than falling asleep and then having to show them the ticket, because then you're up again. You just woke up. So get the ticket checked, fall asleep. I wake up about an hour later and the train is not moving. But, for those of you that don't take the train a lot, sometimes the train doesn't move. So whatever. Kind of shut my eyes. There was an announcement, but I didn't hear it. Shut my eyes again, open them back up. We're in the same spot. There's been another announcement, and there's a murmur on the train. We are not moving. I'm stuck in Fairfield, Connecticut, between train stops, and the power is off on the train. So there's no air conditioning when there normally is. It's an 80-degree day. There are windows. There's sun getting into those windows. It's the level of antsy you've all either felt on a flight that's not taking off or stuck in an elevator or whatever. People start looking at other people like, hey, who's going to freak out? And yeah, like I had a water and a coffee with me. I'm now scared to drink the coffee. Because, like, what's the bathroom situation? So it's me, my now melted coffee, and a water I brought. Because I do always travel with rations just in case. That's kind of my survival skill.
Nice.
I will almost always bring a water and a protein bar with me if I'm on any train or plane or whatever, just in case. So I'm like happy with myself that I have water and a coffee that I'm itching to drink at some point because I still have slept a combined 3.5 hours. Part of that is train heat sleep. I haven't missed announcements. I don't want to talk to anyone. But yeah, nothing's going by. I'm watching football on my phone, so I'm okay. I tell the guys I'm going to be late for Yanks. It's okay. You start processing life differently when you're in a bad situation that you're just like, you know what? Stuff happens. This isn't going to work out. Another half hour goes by. People are getting hot. People are getting loud. People are getting unhappy. They make a couple announcements that are really nothing. They come around with emergency water. Like, if I think Miro called it FEMA water. Like, if in a disaster, these are the prepackaged waters they would bring you, which when they did that, everyone started looking around like, wait, should we be freaking out more?
Are we in like a bad situation?
How bad is this?
I know it sucks.
I'd say another half hour later, the train starts slowly moving. The power comes on. Train starts slowly moving. I think we got towed to the next train station. All of us get, these train stations are built for a certain amount of people. We're at a train station that's not built for a lot of people, and they got us another train, but it was all like, madness, a bunch of people trying to get through a tight stairwell. So you're dealing with people there. We get on the next train. Nobody has seats because it was just another train. So yeah, they didn't get us a train. We just got on another train. Okay. I thought that was nice at first, but there was no seats. And anyways, you're still an hour and a half out. So I've been on this train for 2.5 hours, an hour and a half out from where we got to go. So yeah, it's just a brutal time. When we first started to get rescued, I'm going train to train. That's when Max Fried gave up his first home run. That made it 2-0 Blue Jays. So it was like I couldn't have any nice things on this day. And then it just got worse from there. So yeah, watched the Yankees on the train go down 11-0. Watched Justin Fields do some heroic, meaningless fantasy football stuff on the train. So I'll never forget that. But yeah, I hope you all don't get stuck on a train. I hope I have to wear that for all of you. And maybe it's what turns around the Yankees season. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Wake and Jake. We will be back Wednesday-ish, I think. Again,
probably.
We're juggling, and I just want to get you guys the best updates I can on this program. So we'll see. And I love you.